Hello, I am Sushant from the Department of Microtechnology and Nanoscience at the Chalmers University of Technology in Gothenburg, Sweden. My talk is titled Multilayer Suspended Photonic Crystal Membranes in Aluminum Gallium Arsenide Heterostructures for Integrated Cavity Optomechanics. We will start with a quick motivation regarding optomechanics, and I will begin with the standard optomechanical picture where we have an optical cavity of frequency omega c formed by a fixed mirror and a movable mirror of frequency omega m and loss of gamma. The incoming laser has a frequency of omega L. The optical cavity has a loss of kappa. As the photons move back and forth inside the optical cavity, it exerts radiation pressure on the movable mirror, which leads to the cavity frequency changing, and it will give us an important parameter G0, which is the optomechanical single photon coupling strength, which is given by the rate of change of the cavity frequency by displacement multiplied by the 0-point fluctuation. The goal of a lot of people working in optomechanics is to reach the single photon strong coupling regime where G0 is greater than all the losses in the system, which is mainly dominated by kappa. The best chip-based optomechanical device so far is 2 orders of magnitude shorter than this goal. But why is this regime important? We can achieve applications such as bidirectional photon-to-phonon transduction. We can generate non-classical states in macroscopic object. We can non-destructively detect single photons. And this can be achieved by multi-element optomechanics, wherein we have 2 or more uniform uncoupled mechanical elements placed inside an optical cavity, and the photon mainly interacts with the inner cavity and is recycled back by the outer cavity, leading to increased interaction. Here only the optomechanical coupling strength increases, whereas the optical loss given by the external cavity still remains the same. Here we see a plot where on the x-axis we see the reflectivity of individual element. On the y-axis we see the logarithmic of the ratio of the optomechanical coupling strength of the array by the standard optomechanical coupling strength G0 we saw in the previous slide. And we see that at very high reflectivities of 99.99% and above, we get almost a 3 orders of magnitude increase in optomechanical coupling strength. The array of mechanical elements also has to be transmissive. Here we see a plot where on the x-axis we see the gap between 2 mechanical elements and the reflectivity of the array. Assuming we have 100 nanometer thick gallium arsenide membranes, they have an intrinsic reflectivity of about 68%, which would give us less than 1 order of magnitude increase of optomechanical coupling strength. Whereas if we want 99.99, the gap between them has to be around 700 nanometers, but we have to be very precise with our gap. We'll move on to discuss why AlGas is interesting as a material system, and for that I'd like to take recent works which use the multi-element approach in the silicon nitride system and compare them to an AlGas heterostructure. From the previous slide, we know that we need closely spaced layers which can be grown to sub-nanometer precision using MBE for an AlGas heterostructure system, whereas in this case the gap would be given by the substrate. We need the 2 membranes to be uniform. We don't want any tilt and position losses, which is possible in the AlGas case because we can fabricate both the membranes in one fabrication flow, whereas in these 2 works the membranes are fabricated individually and there might be additional losses due to tilt and position mismatch. We need good optical and mechanical quality, which can be achieved in the AlGas heterostructure system since they are crystalline in nature, whereas you might have accumulated defects in silicon nitride deposited layers. We can also integrate the whole optomechanical system on chip by integrating the mirror on chip using a DBR and bonding an additional mirror on top. Since we also need high reflectivity, we can pattern our device with the photonic crystal structure, which can give any reflectivity between 0 to 100% if you tune the 2 important parameters, that is the lattice constant and the radius of the photonic crystal. Here we see an R versus A map for a wavelength of 1550 nanometers and a thickness of 100 nanometers, and by choosing the right properties we can get a reflectivity of 99.99%, and by this we can fulfill the two requirements for multi-element optomechanics. To show proof of principle, we first fabricate single layer devices where we have MB grown wafers with AlGaAs, sacrificial layers, and gallium arsenide device layers. We write our structures using E-beam lithography and transfer the pattern using RIE dry etch. We use an HF wet etch to remove the sacrificial layer and critical point drying to prevent the stiction of our devices. Here is an SEM image of one of our fabricated devices. To verify the optical properties, we perform an optical characterization on our single layer devices. Here on the x-axis, we see the wavelength. On the y-axis, we see the reflectance, and we see our reflectivity spectrum. The gray window represents the span of our measuring laser. And we observe a dip in our reflectivity spectrum. To understand this better, we first simulate a plane wave incident on just the photonic crystal, and then plane wave incident on a cavity formed by the photonic crystal and the substrate, and we cannot simulate the dip. When we assume that the incident beam is Gaussian in nature, we see that our simulation matches the dip we observe in our measurement. Another interesting observation is that the photonic crystal is not 99.99% reflective at the intended 1550 nanometer, but instead we achieve the maximum reflectivity at 1509 nanometer. Further investigation revealed that the device layer is actually 89.5 nanometer thick instead of the planned 100 nanometer, which leads to the shift of the reflectivity spectrum. To investigate further the dip in the reflectivity spectrum due to the Gaussian nature, we measure reflectance for incident beam of different radii, and what we observe is that as we increase the waist of the incident beam, the dip becomes narrower, as seen both in measurement and simulation. What we also observe is that as the waist becomes larger, the maximum attainable reflectivity also increases, which is opposite to what is seen in the measurement, as the reflectivity goes down with increasing wastes, which can be understood by the finite size of our photonic crystals, where larger waste leads to clipping losses. Since these devices are going to be used for optomechanics, we also have to have good mechanical properties, and to find this we do mechanical characterization, where we measure the thermal noise power spectrum via homodyne detection. Here we see a plot where on the x-axis we see the frequency, and on the y-axis we see the noise power, and we see some peaks. To verify whether these are mechanics, we conduct mode tomography of each of the mode, and we get a good match of the mode shape and the mode frequency when we compare the measurement to our FEM simulations. Here we see a plot of how the mechanical frequencies change with stress in the device. The dashed horizontal lines represent the measured mechanical frequencies, and we see that few of the modes have a very strong dependence on the stress in the device layers. And we observe that we get a pretty good match between the measured values at around 10 megapascal. This tensile strain is attributed to the mismatch between the lattice constants of the AlGaAs sacrificial layer and the gallium arsenide device layer. We observe mechanical quality factors of up to 3 times 10 to the power 5. Let's move on to the fabrication of double layer devices. The fabrication flow is similar to the one seen earlier. Here we have to dry etch a bit longer so that we etch also through the second membrane so that both the membranes are identical. Here we see an SEM image of a fabricated double layer device. Both the layers are nearly identical. A quick overview of the characterization of the photonic crystal array. The optical characterization gives the reflectivity spectrum, which shows two dips. The first dip is attributed to a Fabry-Perot resonance, and the second dip is due to the Gaussian nature of the incoming light. The mechanical characterization at 1550 nanometer gives the noise power spectrum, which shows peaks which are verified as mechanics due to Mode tomography and are seen to be the mechanics of the top membrane. The noise power spectrum at 1580 nanometers shows additional peaks which are due to the bottom membrane. These are preliminary results and we are investigating this further. To conclude, we discussed multi-element optomechanics and why Algas heterostructure offer a promising route to the strong coupling regime. We showed that our devices have good optical and mechanical properties and can be used for optomechanics. Some initial results of optical and mechanical characterization of our double layer devices. Thank you for your attention. This is our group. Anastasia, me, and Witlef work on optomechanics. Witlef is the head of our group. You can find more information regarding this work in our paper in APL and more information about our group in our group website.